Product provided by Nintendo. If you want more information on that, check out the description.
This is a difficult video to make.
Mostly because I would rather be playing Donkey Kong Bonanza right now.
Let's get right to the point. This game is great, it's worth playing, and it's best experience for yourself. We're not going to dive too deep into spoiler territory at this point in the video, though we'll chat about some of it toward the end with ample warning. At a bird's eye view, understand that this is a game that entirely stands on its own 2 feet, with completely new material while honoring what came before.
This was always going to be a tricky tightrope to walk. Long-running franchises, especially reboots of them, have all these expectations placed on them.
The same characters, plot threads, and worlds that created their success can become restraints on creativity. When you're taking an entirely new group of people and tasking them with another entry, the pressure can be suffocating.
That was the impossible task of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Make something that people will care about whether they've known about Donkey Kong for 40 minutes or 40 years.
While we were relatively certain that the team behind hits like Mario Odyssey would be able to deliver a satisfying game experience, us DK fans weren't sure if we would be left behind or not. When Bonanza was announced, there was a large group of fans, my brother included, that were worried that this game would dispose of everything that came before it. In a long conversation, I told Matthew that the DK game of our dreams will never exist. Rare got acquired and never took another crack at 3D Donkey Kong.
While I mourn the loss of that theoretical game, what we got here might be even better.
As we open the game, DK is plunged down into the sunken ingot aisle, where there's obvious homage to the arcade roots of the character. Classic girders, neon lights, and even an arcade cabinet itself litter the field. Prospector monkeys that resemble Diddy Kong cry out for help as DK lends a hand. Rare era barrels have a bit of a makeover, but remain faithful to the roots of the series. 15 minutes into the game, we can see that the 3 most pivotal eras of the franchise are dancing in unison. The visual identity of Arcade DK is represented in his updated look and demeanor. The kinetic, satisfying gameplay of DKC is found in rolling, jumping, and barreling around. At the same time, this whole other world of possibilities emerges with the new destruction mechanics. Never has a character felt so mighty in a 3D platformer. Here's the thing though, they didn't even stop there. Elements like DK's heavy handling and rolling from the retro games find their way into the moveset, along with the tremendously satisfying clap from Jungle Beat. You could even look at the climbing options as a connection to King of Swing. The way DK looks and plays represents a rebirth of the character as much as it does an anthology. While this could be looked at as some sort of fan service, the truth is that they serve the character in the game well. It's not done for some sort of cheap callback. It makes the method of engagement of the game feel so slick.
That's been my favorite part of the experience. It's just so much fun to step in DK's shoes. Whether you've been a part of the franchise since the beginning or this is your first entry, what you've got here is such a natural extension of the character.
I love to mix and match parts of the moveset, using the new chunk jump to gain height along with the clap to stall in the air, finally an air roll to reach places in my own stylish way. Honestly, this would have been enough for me. While I love the lore and story of past Donkey Kong games, it's the character that matters the most to me. This game takes special care in that regard. DK feels as authentically Kong as he ever did, but the fun doesn't stop there. As you saw in the trailer footage, there are a few classic throwback stages that not only serve a hefty dose of 90s nostalgia, but also an inversion of the normal Bonanza formula. Taking all the movement mechanics of the 3D game into a 2D playing field is a neat way to imagine what might be in store for 2D games in the future. The fossils that represent the characters from past games come with their own cheeky descriptions that will give you a chuckle. Like, look at this pig one. It's unclear why this polite porker lived in the jungle, but he always had the chops to help a Kong in need. The chops, you get it? These fossils are so much fun to grab for the first time in each world. It's a really tasteful and subtle way to provide so many cameos.
Again, if you haven't seen this stuff, I would recommend that you experience it for yourself in-game. That being said, from this point on, we're going to go into spoilers.
It would have been difficult to conceive of a DK game that was new, but also incorporated a bunch of the animal buddies from over 5 different games spanning 3 decades. So rather than collecting something like different colored bananas or banana coins, we collect fossils that are appropriately buried in the ground that you're frequently destroying. I was freaking out when I found banana birds in the Radiance layer. They were some of the most rare-esque designs in the entire DKC trilogy. Absolutely hilarious. Zingers are preserved in amber, Jurassic Park style. Squitter made it in along with the anglerfish from DKC 2. I wish they went all in on this concept, as some layers don't contain fossils and the earliest layers have real fossils for some reason. Maybe it's a meta commentary on going deeper into the DK series as you go down the sublayers. There's also the resort layer containing one type of fossil. It's Leaf. just a leaf. As it stands though, it's a fun collectible. It reminds me of the trophies in the Super Smash Bros. Series. So like I said before, I was satisfied with the level of callback that we were getting. Seeing places like Ingot Isle, interacting with characters like Diddy and Dixie, this was enough for me. Not only do they do this though, the level of detail to which they do it is something to behold. I don't know if these new teams could match the level of snark present in the original iteration of Cranky, but man do they come close. He feels as belligerent as ever. Diddy is back and he has full dialogue recounting adventures from the past. While everyone was telling us that lore and timeline don't matter to Nintendo, here we are hearing about how DK was captured and Diddy and Dixie came to the rescue. If you hang around for long enough, you can see Diddy bust out his old juggling routine. It's a sight to behold. They even have him hit the brawl pose. The attention to detail from this game can only come from fellow fans, and that's exactly what we got. All of this was so special to see. And again, they don't feel tacked on, just subtly thrown in there in a fun and goofy way.
But they didn't stop there. And I'm going to give you another spoiler warning because we are really going to go there. This is one of the most exciting payoffs I've seen inside of a Nintendo game.
From one of the earliest fights, this game pays close attention to a crocodile-shaped skeleton, and I'm sitting here like,
what do you mean by that?
While I was making those videos, I was as close to 100% sure as you can be without seeing it for yourself that the big croc was back in the game. I just wasn't sure how they were going to pull it off.
Was he going to be the secret leader of Voidco? An unexpected ally? They really went all out in building the possibility of K. Rool's appearance up in the marketing in the game itself. It was subtle enough to where endless threads on Reddit said there's no way it's happening, yet looking back, it seems quite obvious.
We'll go over what we got right and wrong at a later point in time, but for now all I can say is that everybody won.
If you wanted something new, Voidco puts up a really good fight. The way Void eludes you throughout the game makes it so satisfying to punch him at the end in the Planet Core. For the scaly supporters of the king, I could not have dreamed up a more interesting way for him to come back. I was so excited moving through the Forbidden Lair, hearing about this thief who got trapped there. Seeing his gold-plated belly be mistaken for the Banandium root was hilarious and a bit unsettling, as you could see that his final battle wasn't really final at all. The reveal is so tense and entertaining, and man does this new take on the character look good. You can see the notes from the Rare and Smash designs, but they went ahead and buffed up his arms a bit and found a middle ground for the size of his tail. While everyone talks about how expressive DK is in this game, K. Rool takes the cake. The sudden lizard-like movements juxtaposed with his goofy appearance and speech really sells the original vision of the character. I'm giggling and I'm nervous at the same time. I love how he uses the phrase banana bandits, telling us loud and clear that the cranky dialogue was 103% a clue about K. Rool being in the game.
Again, for all this talk about Nintendo not caring about timelines or continuity, they sure did go through a lot of trouble to explain why a certain group of characters were missing for so long.
Deeper down into the Planet Core, we're greeted with a giant statue of the Big Croc that sets the tone for the upcoming gauntlet. I go to fight a Crocoid and notice something a little off about it. I can't describe how vindicating it was to hear the when I launched them. They took some notes from the Payon designs, and man does the Switch 2 make these guys look good. With K. Rool being sealed into the ground like he was, the Kremlings were trapped down there. It's kind of funny. The Kremlings in the next layer down would be looking at their only escape route be blocked by K. Rool's cake. The music calls back to the olden days as you move from sublayer to sublayer, discovering that most of the enemies you've been fighting in this game are actually reanimated Kremlings. In addition to the aforementioned critters, we got zingers, we got neckies, we got kabooms. Let me say it again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have kabooms. They're a bunch of faithful recreations of the enemies we grew to love on the Super Nintendo. Now how are you gonna have a rock game featuring crocs without Rock Croc? It just doesn't make sense. If you're paying attention to the fossils, you'll see the oldest DK relics down there. The description affirms the original arcade story connecting to Cranky Kong. And wouldn't you know, if you were still doubting that Cranky was always referring to K. Rool, here he is overlooking the last bit of the stage. The boss battles that ensue are so satisfying. While K. Rool was still present in the 2000s, we haven't had the technology to realize his character like this until now. He's downright sinister. They even pull the fake credits gag again. Just as some of us were theorizing, the final battle is in New Donk City, but the way they blended everything together was unexpected and incredible. We have one last Kremling onslaught as we ascend to the new age skyscrapers in a manner not all that different from the original Donkey Kong. It's almost like K. Rool is asking us how high can we get. The final battle takes place in a ring reminiscent of DK64.
It's not so much even what they're calling back to, it's how they're doing it. It's brilliantly done.
They stitched the entire history of the franchise into this new vision for the series in one beautiful tapestry. That's Donkey Kong Bonanza in a coconut shell. It's a game for everyone. If you're 6 years old, man, are you gonna have fun smashing everything. If you had a pulse in the 90s, you're gonna feel something. And if you're a DK fan, your jaw is going to hit the floor.
This game is deep, it's layered, it's groundbreaking, truly a bonanza for Donkey Kong fans.